Y'all, y'all. Ooh, yeah. So you guys are gonna just like, yeah, yeah. Scoobert L. Do. Instagram is telling my followers that I've started a live video. No, don't do that. What does that do? Oh, don't do that. I don't like that. I don't know that. I'm gonna turn into an old man. I don't even know how technology work no more. Oh Lord. I'm about to start saying help me Lord and stuff like that. Alright, so I thought I was gonna be able to do this with my face on here. But Facebook, interestingly enough, doesn't really want that. So we're just gonna be doing it, sharing the screen. You know what I'm saying? Doing a thing, doing a thug dizzle. Um, yeah. If anybody's watching this, I am on Facebook Live without the face, and then I'm on Instagram with the face and without the slide presentation. But I'm gonna try to see if I can put them both together, or maybe I'll just make the slide presentation available in the in that in the Discord group that should be live tomorrow. You know, God willing. All right, so let's get into it. I don't want to take too much time doing this because I've had a long day. I've had a long day, sir. No time for your shenanigans, Mike Wazowski. Get one last little sip of tea. I'm parched. A brother is parched. All right. Hopefully, my loud ancient computer isn't like screaming in the microphone and like ruining the audio quality. I'm doing my best. I'm not just like giving you the fist or like a thumbs up over here. I'm trying to like use my hand as a wind protector because my computer don't know how to be quiet. All right, so Al-ghul. It's a spirit's masterclass. I put masterclass in quotes because I don't know how I feel about that word. It's very overused, but seems to make sense. So the reason I call it al-ghul is because al-ghul is the ancient Arabic, or it's an Arabic term where we get the word alcohol from. It means spirit. This word also, interestingly enough, is where we get the word ghoul from. Yeah. So glossary term, just in case anybody here is new, I'm assuming most people here are vets and industry vets, and you're here because you either want to refresh or you want to laugh at me. But either way, I'm down. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be tastefully tacky. Um, so distillate is a liquid which is condensed from a vapor during distillation. Fermentation is a process of fermentation involved in the process of fermentation involved in making a beer, wine, and liquor in which sugars are converted to ethyl alcohol. Maturation, also known as barrel aging or cask aging, is a process of improving the flavor of spirituous drink by storing them in wooden casks. Neutral, which is made from either grain or fruit. Neutral spirit, also sometimes known as eau de vie, even though that's usually made from fruit, is a type of high proof alcohol that is distilled from grains such as corn, wheat, or barley, or fruit in the case of the latter. Tannins are a natural substance found in grape skins, seed stems, and oak barrels, and leach into wine during pressing, maceration, and fermentation. You better be taking notes. There will be a quiz. I don't know when I'm going to be, giving this quiz, but there's going to be one. Congeners are minor compounds other than ethanol that occur naturally in alcoholic beverages as a result of distilling and fermenting processes. They're flavors. I believe that tannins technically are a type of congener. I need to double check that. I don't remember that. Small batch. Batches produced in small quantities, often using traditional or ancient methods. Single estate is used to refer to food or drink where the majority of the ingredients or the main ingredient comes from one area of the land and allows you to showcase the terroir. You can literally say, this is what this place tastes like. Cask strength barrel proof is distilled and aged spirit bottled directly from the cask at the distillery, undiluted, high, and it usually has higher ABV. Now, before I go forward, this is about the nicest part of this whole presentation. I'm gonna just go ahead and be honest with y'all. I made this several a couple years ago in a much more whimsical phase of my life, and I happen to be in a whimsical phase of my life once again. So, we're just embracing the spirit and running with it. And if you are here to laugh at me, I'm here to laugh at me too. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's do what it do. These are called heirloom eggs. No, I'm just playing. Those are potatoes usually usually used as a source grain or starch to make what do you call this stuff? Vodka. Vodka is a clear distillate, usually from grain or starch, usually at 97% ABV. Then it's cut to 40 proof with distilled water. Vodka etymology is Polish for wodacika. Wodacika. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I tried. Um, Wodacika. Zika. Wodacika. Wodacika. I should know that. Water of life. So, Russia literally Russianized vodka by nationalizing distilleries and bars. It was not originally a Russian thing. It actually is a Polish thing. And that's etymology of the word. Now, there are certain historians who will debate that. There's because it's so old, it's murky. You know what I'm saying? Other people have different sources, but that's what I found in my research. So that's what we rocking with. Grain. I wish you guys could see the slide presentation right now. I probably look so crazy to Instagram right now. Okay. Maybe I'll do another one and I'll go live on Instagram. I'll figure it out. Common classic cocktails of vodka are going to be things like martini, the Vesper, a Bloody Mary, a vodka daisy, which is a large class of cocktails that most people don't really know is even a thing. But types would be lemon drops, cosmopolitans. I'll get to it, but technically a margarita is a type of daisy. It's a tequila daisy. But I digress. Also, espresso martinis, greyhounds, bay breezes. If you didn't know, now you know. Juniper berries, gin, also known as genever or aquavit, in terms of things that are neutral grain that have gin in it. Some people consider aquavit a type of gin. Some people consider it a type of vodka. That's because the definition of gin to some people is vodka or neutral grain spirit that's been infused with herbs and or fruit, but retains its clearness and its astringency. And then to some people, the classic definition of gin is literally it has to be neutral grain spirit infused with juniper berries. Um, so yeah, so gin is typically a colorless distillate brought to proof in column stills before being finished a final time with an array of secret herbs and botanicals. The primary of which is traditionally juniper. So the styles are usually London Dry, which is the standard. Plymouth, which is a bit lighter in terms of ABV, has more subtler botanicals. New American or non-European gin. The juniper is often restrained, and then you have Genever, which is the Dutch counterpart, probably the originator, probably the origin of where gin came from. Classically juniper forward, and it is often oily. Juniper berries. Common classic cocktails. So again, the martini, you got the Vesper, a classic gin gimlet, Tom Collins, gin and tonic, a gin Ricky, a gin mule, the Trois cocktail. That's going to be kind of rare, but if you know, you know. Last word, and then Pim's cup. I mean, some people don't even put gin in their Pim's cup; they just put the Pims. But Pims traditionally is a gin-based liqueur by virtue of it being made in England. So this is not a mutant pineapple. This is a tequila pina. This is the fruit that this is what agave looks like. This is the heart of the agave plant. This is the fruit. This is what they actually um, juice. This is what they actually juice to make tequila. And then we got some bottles over here. I wonder if I can get in trouble for showing these bottles. Tequila mezcal. Distillates made from the agave plant in Mexico are called mezcal. Tequila is a type of mezcal made in one of five Mexican states: Michoacan, Nayarit, Guanajuato, Tamaulipas, and finally Jalisco. Jalisco is the region where in the actual town Tequila, for which tequila is named, resides. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Mezcal is traditionally smoked in holes in the ground before it is ground up and made into spirit, mostly made in Oaxaca, but most notably in regions or states nearby. Agaves can be cupreata, aroqueño, tepestate, tobadiche, and espadín. Tequila, on the other hand, is uh, not many people know this, but tequila, I mean, bartenders know this, but tequila is technically a subtype of mezcal. All agave based spirit that's of a certain type of quality, I guess, is called mezcal. And then the type of mezcal that they make in the town of Tequila in Jalisco is called tequila, which became popular because it, unlike most other mezcals that are smoked in the ground the ancient way, they are steamed in autoclaves. If it's a more of a cheaper tequila, and then if it's more quality, they'll be baked slowly in hornos or ovens. Made only in the central tequila making region of Mexico, usually but not always made from blue Weber agave. True tequila is always 100% agave. Tequila mixto is 49% or less non-agave sugars like molasses or sugarcane. It's the caramel colored dive bar well rot gut that holds such a special place in my heart and liver. Oh, I can feel it now. This is a tonya. This is the stone that they use to mash up the agave hearts, and burro, drags it on a wheel. Um, yeah, pretty cool, man. So there's often aging and oaking statements with tequila and mezcal. Age statements denote time spent on or in oak. And I'm only telling you this because it can vary, and there's specific standards for the aging of certain clear spirits. Most old spirit, regular classic wood aged spirits like tequila or rye or whatever, those are going to be, they're going to have their aging statements usually like set on there as a part of their branding. So like 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. So blanco and or silver is about 2 months in wood aging or in oak aging or less. Reposado is 2 to 12 months in oak, regardless of the size. Añejo is 1 to 3 years in a tiny oak barrel known as a barrique. Extra añejo is it means that it spent at least 3 years minimum in an oaken barrique. Classic agave cocktails. We got tequila daisy, like I mentioned earlier, margarita, another version of the tequila daisy called a Mexican firing squad, mezcal last word, naked and famous, tequila sunrise, paloma, el diablo. That is my dishwasher, and it just scared the devil out of me. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but it was loud. Okay, next we got some little nice, pretty sugarcane over here. We're moving on to rum. I'm trying to go in the order of how things would be arranged in a well, uh, for sake of organization. Um, okay, so rum, or in its Spanish name, ron, is a distilled spirit that is made from sugarcane or its byproducts, such as molasses or sugarcane. The history of rum can be traced back to the 17th century when sugarcane was first introduced to the Caribbean islands by the Spanish and the Portuguese. Now, I have to give a little bit of context. Technically, cachaça predates rum by almost 100 years, just because of how old of a colony Brazil was, and historically, Portugal had more rights in the New World than Spain did in the beginning. The Treaty of Tordesillas. Anyway, the sugar cane was used to make sugar, but the leftover byproducts such as molasses were used to make rum agricole. And I also put cachaça here because they have similar flavor profiles. Napoleon refined French sugar from beets. Thus, many French colonies did not need to press the cane from the juice before distilling. This gave rise to the raunchy, funky, grassy rum styles of the Caribbean, rum agricole. A close cousin is the Brazilian cachaça. The main difference being these rums are aged in wood that only grows in Brazilian rainforests, and like I said, cachaça was first. This is it being pressed. Classic rum cocktails. So you got the daiquiri, you got the zombie, you got the tea punch, you got the caipirinha, You got dark and stormy. You got a mojito, pina colada, hurricane, rum runner, mai tai, and the jungle bird. Usually rum because it's in tropical climates. It's obviously going to usually present itself in tequila, in punchier or um, punchier or Caribbean type tiki cocktails. That's the word I was looking for, tiki. So we got brandy, um, which depending on how you look at it, can be aguardiente, can be cognac, can be armagnac. Uh, Technically, the definition of brandy is eau de vie, which is a clear colorless spirit that is traditionally made from fermented fruits such as apples, pears, and berries, grapes. The term eau de vie means water of life in French, and has a long history of being a popular spirit in Europe, particularly in France and Germany. The origins of eau de vie can be traced back to ancient civilizations where fermented fruit was used as a way to preserve the harvest. Brandy is a type of eau de vie that is specifically grape as the base fruit. It is a spirit made by distilling wine. It is believed to have originated in the 12th century in the Mediterranean region. The name brandy is derived from the Dutch word brandewijn, which means burnt wine. The process of distillation was used to make brandy stronger and more potent, and it quickly gained popularity as a spirit. Cognac is a type of brandy that is made in the Cognac region of France. So if you're ever wondering what the difference is or what cognac is brandy, and it's specifically brandy from this region of France. The production of cognac is regulated by the appellation d'origine contrôlée designation, appellation d'origine contrôlée, I don't know how you say it, which ensures the quality and authenticity of the product. Cognac is made from a specific type of grape, Ugni Blanc. It is then aged in oak barrels for a minimum of 2 years, but can be aged for much longer. The aging process imparts flavors such as vanilla, caramel, and spices to the cognac. Yeah, yeah. This looks like where I went to high school at. Armagnac, another type of yak, is another type of brandy that is made in France. It comes from the region next door to cognac, Armagnac. Like cognac, the production of Armagnac is regulated by the Appellation d'origine contrôlée designation. It is made from a blend of grape varieties, including Baco, Colombard, and Ugni Blanc, and it is distilled only once in an alembic still. It is then aged in oak barrels for a minimum of 1 year, but can be aged for much longer. The aging process imparts flavors such as vanilla, caramel, and spices to the Armagnac. Cognac is for the world, Armagnac is for the French. Um, I forget where I heard that. I know there's someone I need to give credit to for me having heard that. But in any case, um, cognac is essentially only made for export. Armagnac is what French people consume, um, according to the lore. Brandy, whether clear, most likely clear, but sometimes aged, can be used as a fortifier. So brandy can either be clear or colorless, or DV, or wood aged brandy proper. Because of brandy's age and its status as a neutral spirit that doesn't have the spicy grit of grain, it is often used as a fortifying agent for other fruit based agricultural products such as fortified wine, oxidized wine, vermouth, curacao, etc. Common classic cocktails that call for brandy are going to be a brandy crusta, a sidecar, a Champs Elysees, a Metropolitan, a brandy Alexander, a Vieux Carré, and a B&B. I'm really sorry, Instagram. I've been neglecting you over there. I haven't looked at you not even once. I'm so sorry. So, whiskey, also known as whiskey, um, another grain product. Whiskey, also known as water of life in Old Gaelic, Hois Cabiata. The first written records of whiskey date back to the 14th century in Ireland, where it's being produced by a group of monastic mixologists. So we had monks. They took a vow of silence and they brewed beer. And one day, some dude decided to boil it, and it got super strong. This is the general historical consensus about the production of distillation in Europe, but it's kind of Eurocentric. My understanding is that um, the Moors of Spain were using um, were distilling alcohol for for perfume making purposes and surgical purposes as well at around this time in the 14th century. So anyway, these Irish monks were the first to perfect the technique of distillation, so they say, which allowed them to create a more purified form of alcohol. They were basically the alchemists of the church, only instead of turning lead into gold, they were turning barley into liquid gold. In the late 15th century, whiskey production spread to Scotland, and it quickly became an important part of the country's economy. The Scottish distillers used barley as their main ingredient, and they also introduced the use of peat to dry the barley, which gave their whiskey a distinct smoky flavor, and thus the Scottish whiskey was born. Irish whiskey is made in Ireland, distilled 3 times. It gives it a smoother, less intense flavor than other types of whiskey. It's known for its light, almost fruity taste with hints of vanilla and caramel. Its popular brands of Irish whiskey include Jameson, Bushmills, and Tullamore Dew. Scotch whiskey, made in Scotland, is known for its peaty, smoky flavor, which comes from the malted barley dried over peat fires. It must be aged in oak barrels for at least 3 years and is often classified by its region of origin, such as Highland, Lowland, Islay, or Speyside. Some popular brands of Scotch whiskey include Johnny Walker, Glenlivet, and Macallan. Oh, fancy that. These are the stills that they use in you know in Ireland, and I guess also Scotland, to make their whiskey. Instead of them using distill in the coffee still method, which is a continuous still, which is the modern still, there's plates. So the liquid that's being evaporated has more surface area contact, therefore it has more time to let um, water molecules and alcohol molecules be separated by heat. Conversely, here in their stills, what they do is they just have like a lot of surface area. They just build them kind of like big and round and with extra rounds in there and make them really big and tall. So that way they still get a lot of surface area, um, you know, contact, but they don't necessarily go through plates. So you lose a lot of the flavor of the corn and the grain and the peat and the barley and all that good stuff. The next type of whiskey we need to look at is bourbon. Whiskey is a big category. Whiskey is made in the United. I'm sorry, bourbon is made in the United States and is defined by laws being made from a grain mixture that is at least 51% corn and aged in new charred oak barrels. It is known for its sweetness, at least in the context of whiskeys, and with flavors of caramel, vanilla, and oak. Some popular brands of bourbon include Maker's Mark, Jim Beam, and Wild Turkey. With your gobble gobble head. With your gobble gobble head. Rye, also made in the United States, is made from a grain mixture that is at least 51% rye berries. It is known for its spicy, robust flavor and is often used in cocktails like Manhattan and Old Fashioned. Some popular brands of rye are Bullet Rye, Rittenhouse Rye, and Sazerac Rye. Canadian whiskey is made in Canada and is typically a blend of different grains such as corn, rye, and barley. It is known for its light, smooth taste and is often used in mixed drinks. Technically, by virtue of the history, Canadian whiskey descends more from rye, and it also descends more from like Irish whiskey makers. Um, so there's a little bit of synonymity there in those flavor profiles. So Crown Royal, Canadian Club, Seagrams. Japanese whiskey has gained popularity in recent years for its complex subtle flavors that are often compared to Scotch. I mean, it's pretty much they're attempting to make a whiskey that is comparable to Scotch whiskey. That's just the flavor profile of Japan, most likely because of all the umami flavors and how much that is evolved on their palate over all the centuries of their type of food, like soy-based things and wakame-based things and nori and stuff like that. So it's made using a combination of malted and unmalted grains and is aged in oak barrels, often in a climate that is similar to Scotland's. Some popular brands of Japanese whiskey include Nika, Suntory, and Hibiki. Common whiskey cocktails: Old Fashioned, Manhattan, Whiskey Sour, Blood and Sand, Kentucky Derby, Mint and Julep, a Sazerac, Horse's Neck, and a Paper Plane. Then we got some cordials, also known as liqueur. Um, Cordials, aka liqueurs, are sweet, flavored alcoholic beverages that are made by macerating fruits, herbs, and spices in a neutral spirit, such as vodka or brandy. They are often sweetened with sugar or other sweeteners, and they can have an alcohol content of 15 to 30%. Some examples of liqueurs include triple sec, creme de menthe, and amaretto. My personal favorite liqueur or cordial is amaro, which technically is like its own thing, really. The term cordial is derived from the Latin word cordialis, which means of the heart, and it refers to the warm, comforting feeling that these liqueurs can evoke. I don't know what I was on when I wrote this. The history of cordials can be traced back to medieval Europe, where they were originally used as medicinal remedies. Monks and alchemists would create cordials by macerating fruits, herbs, and spices in neutral spirit, which we already said. And that's my favorite, Zucca Rababaro, which is an amaro that is made from a base of smoked rhubarb. Ooh la la, zut alors. And there's the rhubarb. Ooh la la, damn hot. Okay, Amari on the singular Amaro is an Italian herbal liqueur that has a long history of being used as a digestif and, you guessed it, a medicinal remedy. The name Amaro means bitter in Italian. Cordials are often used in cocktails to add sweetness and depth of flavor. They are also used to balance out other ingredients, such as citrus and bitters. I had to include Amaro here because I didn't want to put it somewhere else, so deal with it. Common, not necessarily Amaro, but common cordial cocktails. So last word, naked and famous, Bijou, Americano, Amaro Daiquiri, personal favorite, and absinthe frappe. Absinthe frappe, if you please. So this is a barrel that they are aging some fortified wine in. Yes, wine gets, yes, fortified dessert wine gets barrel aged too. What you see here is the wine below and then the floor on top. This is a layer of yeast that actually like eats all the sugar left in this or starts to eat the sugar left in this and poops alcohol. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like an overview of the process. There's more to it, but yeah. So aromatized wine is wine that has been flavored with a variety of herbs, spices, and fruits. The history of aromatized wine can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where wine was flavored with herbs and spices as a way to mask any unwanted flavors. In medieval Europe, aromatized wine was used as, you guessed it, a medicinal remedy, and was often thought to bring health. And some people still do think that to this day. One of the most well-known and popular aromatized wines is vermouth. Now, vermouth is a type of aromatized wine that is flavored with a variety of herbs and spices such as wormwood, and it is often sweetened with sugar. Vermouth has a long history dating back to ancient Greece and Rome. Today, vermouth continues to be a popular ingredient in a wide range of cocktails, such as a martini and the Manhattan. One of my favorite things to play with. It can fix a cocktail literally in no time because they can either add sweetness or dryness, depending on the palate and what you're working with. Anyway, so fortified wine, on the other hand, is wine that has had a distilled spirit such as brandy added to it. Remember we mentioned that earlier. This process increases the alcohol content of the wine, making it stronger and more potent. The history of fortified wine can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where wine was fortified to preserve it for long journeys. In the 16th and 17th centuries, fortified wine became popular in Europe, particularly in the region of Spain and Portugal, where it was used as a liquid dessert and a health tonic. Duh. Today, fortified wines such as sherry, port, and Madeira are still enjoyed as a digestif or in cooking. Trying to switch my mic hands. I'm getting a cramp over here. These are, I want to say this is House of Lustal, but I'm not sure exactly. These are barrels that are being kept in the Solera style. I'm sorry, let me say that again in case my thumb covered up the mic. These are barrels that are being kept in Solera style, and I believe that this is from House of Lustal, but I'm not sure. In any case, Solera style is a process of aging where they make spirits more complex and also like account for any wild flavors that could be happening across a range of products that are being made at a certain time. So they'll take some out of this barrel and add it to some of this barrel and add this one to that one and add this one to this one. So usually what you're working with is something that is as young as a year and is as old as whatever the oldest barrel is that they're mixing it with. So for instance, my favorite rum, it's called Ron Zacapa. I believe it's from, is it from Bolivia or Guatemala? Either or. Not either or, but one of the two. And that is a Solera style rum that has rums as young as a year old in it, and it has rums as old as 23 years old in it. So that's just an example. Just wanted to, hit you with that. So sherry, for example, is a fortified wine that is made in the Jerez region of Spain, and it is known for its nutty and complex flavor profile. Port is a wine that was discovered on the open sea. Dominantly produced in the Douro region of Portugal, port is sweet and rich, often enjoyed as a dessert. Madeira, which is made in the Madeira Islands of Portugal, is a fortified wine that is known for its unique flavor profile and is often described as nutty and caramelized. I don't know about that. I don't know why that says yeah. Okay, so common sherry cocktails: sherry flip, bamboo, an Adonis, sherry cobbler, and the Fino martini. So put a little sherry in your martini, see what that do. So this is the end. And if your lips touch liquor, you can't kiss any of these nice ladies in this picture, especially not this one making a kissy face. Cheers. Hopefully that was fun for you guys. Hopefully everybody learned something or was reminded of something that they forgot. Um, yeah, man, it is what it is. Cheers, guys. See you on the next one. Oh yeah, again, if you want the slides themselves, I'm gonna make them available in my free Discord, which should be available tomorrow, unless I do something else. We'll see. Peace.